Everyone. Welcome to what I estimate to be the second to last session of the quadratics course for CSEC Maths. Now, as I said, the CSEC Add Maths, that could be a whole separate section where I'll be doing that for Add Maths. It may not be now, but I'll release it eventually, right? Um, this is just for CSEC Maths, and with this and the last video, you will be able to do essentially any quadratic question that comes your way. The only thing I didn't do with y'all is plotting of a graph and reading of things of a graph plotting, but those really not too bad, right? So what we want to do, we want to go use what we did in the last in the last video to first of all find the roots. So let's say just to recall, what is the quadratic formula? Right, the quadratic formula, right? We know is x is equal to minus, minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. I know you notice that one of the things that I don't like to draw is the square roots here because it requires a smaller line. And for some reason, those I can't get them as a straight line on this here, just right. Right? B squared minus 4ac all over 2e. Now, a big mistake people will make here is that they don't put the 2a, they just put this root over 2a alone, but it's the entirety of the top over 2a. Good. So let's see, for example, they tell us to find the roots of. Now, there are three techniques in which to find the roots, right? The first one is we could use quadratic formula. So I'm going to show you all three ways in this. First one, let's go with um, easy ones. X squared plus 5x plus 6. Y is equal to x squared plus 5x plus 6. Sorry. Y is equal to x squared plus 5x plus 6. Right? So for our first one, we have this equation here that we want to use. So method 1. It don't matter the order, just doing the three methods to show earlier. And you can decide which one you want to use. So method 1, um, we will go with the quadratic formula. Right, so I'll just shorten quadratic formula to QF, yeah? So all of them going to require us using this here, A, B, and C. So A is equal to 1, remember the number in front of x squared is 1, B is equal to 5, and C is equal to 6. So let's use the quadratic formula. Right, so for me, just to be lazy, I will just copy the quadratic formula. Right, click copy and paste underneath here. Right, so this is our quadratic formula here. So let's work with this. So it'll be minus b, which is minus 5, plus or minus the square root of b squared, which is 5 squared, minus 4, by e, which is 1, by c, which is 6. Good. All over 2 by e, which is 1. And you notice that you have no big problems going into this. So minus 5 plus or minus the square root of 25 minus 4 sixes is 24 all over 2. Good, not too bad now. So now this gives us minus 5 plus or minus, now this we can work this out a bit quickly. 25 minus 24 is 1 and the square root of 1 is 1 all over 2. Right? So what this gives us here is two values. So x is equal to this. So therefore, x1 is equal to minus 5 plus 1 over 2. And when we work this out, you will get minus 5 plus 1 is minus 4. Minus 4 divided by 2 is minus 2. Or x2 is equal to minus 5 minus 1 all over 2. Minus 5 minus 1 is minus 6. Minus 6 over 2 is minus 3. So these are the two roots here. So therefore the roots are x is minus 2 and x is minus 3. So this is one method. You notice the quadratic formula, it's a little bit lengthy, but it really isn't too bad. Now method 2. is the completing the square, right? Completing the square, or what we actually not completing the square. It is converting to vertex form first. Converting to vertex form, right? So if we have to convert this to vertex form now, right? First thing you have to do is y is equal to x squared plus 5x plus 6, right? And then you go through the whole series of steps to convert this here into vertex form, right? So I'll pause the video to do it on the side to save some time, but you all know how to convert to vertex form. If you don't, you have to drop back about 3 or 4 videos to see it, right? So this here is our quadratic written in vertex form, right? Feel free to pause it, go through the steps, and make sure that you remember how to complete the square of a quadratic. Now, remember again, at the roots, what is the value at the roots? At the roots, y is equal to 0. So what this gives me here is x plus 5 over 2 squared minus a quarter is equal to 0. Now, for us to solve this, you have to transpose the negative form, negative a quarter. So you have to add negative a quarter to both sides. So it becomes positive a quarter. 0 minus plus a quarter is a quarter. Then you take the square root of both sides. But remember, when you take the square root, you have to take plus or minus the square root of a quarter. The square root of a quarter is, the square root of 1 is 1, the square root of 4 is 2. And now, when you transpose the half, it becomes negative a half, right? You have to subtract 5 over 2 from both sides. So that's negative 5 over 2 plus or minus 1 over 2. So what this means is that x1 is equal to minus 5 over 2 plus 1 over 2, or x2 is equal to minus 5 over 2 minus 1 over 2. Right, so what this gives us here now is minus 5 over 2 plus 1 over 2. That will give us minus 4 over 2, which is negative 2, or minus 5 minus 1 minus 6 over 2 is minus 3, which is the same two answers that we have here. Now, clearly, the better method thus far is the quadratic formula, right? However, there is a third technique, and this is the one that I didn't show you all as yet, but only know how to do it. So this is usually the best technique if it could be done. And the third one is by factorization. So by factorization, right? Now, we know that y is equal to, they give us y is equal to x squared plus 5x plus 6. Good? Now, at the roots, y is equal to 0. So check something here. If at the roots y is 0, right, this becomes x squared plus 5x plus 6 is equal to 0. But you all know how to solve this. All you know how to factorize this one. You're looking for two numbers when multiplied give us 1 by 6 is 6, and when added given us 5. Go back about 10 or 15 videos and you'll see how to do this. Right? You look at the factors of 6, 1 and 6, 2 and 3. 2 plus 3 can add to give you 5. And 2 by 3 is 6. You split up your 5x into those two numbers. X squared plus 2x plus 3x plus 6 is equal to 0, which will give us x into x plus 2 plus 3 into x plus 2. If you're unsure about this, please feel free to go through the catalog of videos that I have there under my series, and you will find out how to do this here. You factor out x plus 2 into x plus 3. When you take out the x plus 2, you are left with x plus 3 outside is equal to 0. And now we know when two terms are equal to 0, either the contents of the first bracket is 0, or the contents of the second bracket is equal to 0. But check what we're going to get. And this is x is equal to negative 2, or x is equal to negative 3. So either one of the three techniques could be used. Quadratic formula, convert into vertex form, or factorization. The one that is the fastest is factorization. right? So you always try to use factorization first, right? So that's a little hint. And if you want to write it down, you could. So I'm going to say it slowly so you can probably write it down. Your hint to solving a quadratic and knowing which formula to use. First one, try factorization. If you can't figure out how to factorize it, right, then go to quadratic formula. So it's factorization. If not factorization, then quadratic formula, right? You really only use the completing the square method, right? If it is you doing a question with completing the square in it. So ideally, the best way to go with is by factorization. Let's say, for example, we say to find the roots of. So they're not asking you to rewrite in vertex form or to sketch or anything. They're just asking you to find the roots of, let's go with 2x squared plus 12 plus 11x. Let's go with minus 11x. Right? Y is equal to this. So our solution, right, is we know that at the roots, right, solution at the roots, what is equal to 0? At the roots, y is equal to 0. So you let this be equal to 0. You get 2x squared minus 11x plus 12 is equal to 0. Now let's do this by factorization, right? You're looking for two numbers when multiplied, giving us 24, and when added, giving us negative 11. So for those who went through these videos properly and know how to factorize, pause the video and make sure you know how to do this. Right? So remember, you're going through your list of numbers. 1 and 24 can't add or subtract to give you 11. 2 and 12, no. What about 3 and 8? Yes. 3 plus 8 is 11, is positive 11. So minus 3 minus 8 will give you negative 11. Always double check to make sure your answers make sense. Negative 3 by negative 8 is positive 24. Right? So now you break up your middle term into those two numbers. Minus 3x minus 8x plus 12 is equal to 0. You factorize. From these first two terms, I can only take out x into 2x minus 3. Now, if I take out minus 4 here, minus 8x divided by 4 is positive 2x. 12 divided by minus 4 is minus 3 is equal to 0. Now, I have my common 2x minus 3, and I withdraw that, and I am left with x and minus 4 is equal to 0. And now, either my contents of my first bracket is 0, so either 2x minus 3 is equal to 0, or x minus 4 is equal to 0. How do I solve this? I transpose the negative 3. So when you add 3 to both sides, you get 2x is equal to 3, or x transpose the 2, it becomes 3 over 2. Now, and maths people, you all could leave this as 3 over 2. Maths people, for your exam, make sure you change that improper fraction. And this one here now, when you transpose this, you get x is equal to 4. So the factorization technique is much faster than the quadratic formula. However, and please note this, some some quadratics cannot be factorized. So you will have to use quadratic formula or completing the square. Either one of them will give you the answer. So this here is our factorization video. It showed you the three different ways to, sorry, not factorization, solving for the roots of a quadratic video. You saw your three ways on how to use them to um, solve a quadratic to give you the roots. Good, so that is it for this video. And the next one will be finally the last video in our series. And doesn't have really anything much to do with what we were doing before. It's just that I just want to be complete. So I am just going to show you all how to do something called the difference of two squares. And that will be the next video to end off our course. So thanks for staying until the penultimate video. Right, and I will see you all in the next video. So until then, stay safe, everyone.